The homicide count jumps as two men gunned down on Johnson Alley last night. Tonight on our news, the National Security Minister says one of the victims was being electronically monitored. This as government set to amend anti-gang legislation. And still in the race, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says he'll still run for the Killarney constituency despite his party ratifying Michaela Barnett Ellis for the seat. Then in our news at 7:30, the United States Embassy set to become the new processing hub for Haitian nationals. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. Police have a double homicide investigation on their hands after masked men gunned down two victims inside a home on Johnson Alley off Wolf Road late Wednesday night. Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Sharia King telling members of the media on the scene that officers were alerted to the double murder by shot spotter technology just after 10 p.m. She says when they got to the scene, they found two men ages 41 and 32 dead in the home.
What we have learned thus far in our preliminary investigation is that the suspect males were masked, entered the residence, opened fire on the two victims, fatally wounding them. The victims, one is in his early 30s, the other is in his early 40s. We are asking, as we have been asking the public to assist us in matters such as these.
This latest shooting comes on the heels of the shooting death of alleged gang leader Duran Neely, who was killed on Munnings Road last week. King shared this much about one of the victims in last night's killing.
What we can say is that one was electronically monitored for a serious offense.
Meanwhile, as police probe cases under the Anti-Gang Act, the Royal Bahamas Police Force pushing for an amendment to the legislation. According to National Security Minister Wayne Munro, the bill was passed back in 2024 and provides that a person convicted of involvement in gang activity would be liable to a $100,000 fine and a 25-year prison term. Munro explaining that he hopes to bring the amendment to Parliament once House members return from the summer break. And he says the amendment has to do with anonymity of witnesses.
When you prosecute gangs, you do so by a number of methods. One of them is speaking to people in a gang. Well, clearly, if they have to stand up early and be exposed, that's problematic. Currently, the statute for the anonymity of witnesses covers murder as an offense, but it doesn't specifically cover gang activity.
42-year-old Sterling Fox, an employee of Bahamas Information Services, now on a $1,000 bail as he awaits trial for allegedly choking a female co-worker during a staff party late last month. Fox allegedly attacked Perronique Bethel during the work event on 5th Terrace, grabbing her by the neck and choking her in a physical altercation. She was reportedly left with throat injuries. He was charged with causing harm when he appeared before Senior Magistrate Anishka Isaacs. He pleaded not guilty and was granted bail. He's expected back in court on November 13th. And shovels are now in the ground for the long-debated $200 million Rosewood Exuma Resort on Sampson Key. Despite facing heavy criticism and controversy, government officials led by Prime Minister Philip Davis, the Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, along with representatives from the Integra Group, officially broke ground on Thursday. The ultra-luxe development has drawn pushback over the years, but officials say they're pressing full steam ahead. Integra CEO is Philippe McLean.
This project is a responsible development that has been meticulously planned with every detail carefully considered to ensure that Rosewood Exuma redefines the hospitality standards of excellence. Our green commitments go beyond the norm. Our project is on track to achieve LEED and Fitwel certification. We will use renewable energy, but also cleaner alternatives such as liquid natural gas. We will implement water conservation strategies, new waste reduction technologies, and climate-responsive smart designs.
Set to open in 2028, the development expected to include 33 beachfront suites, a luxury spa, 6 dining venues, and 2 marinas designed to attract high-net-worth visitors and yachting enthusiasts. Prime Minister Davis touted its potential.
Rosewood Exuma will become a destination known for luxury, authenticity, and a deep respect for its surroundings. Together, Integra and Rosewood bring both investment and it brings credibility. That combination makes this groundbreaking a milestone in our country's story.
The union representing long-standing employees of the country's main technical institute says it is one step closer to resolving several industrial issues. This after Labour Minister Pia Glover Roll has reportedly stepped in to help. Aggravated members of the Bahamas Union of Auxiliary Professionals in Education and Union of Tertiary Educators of the Bahamas assembled in front of Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute earlier this week, protesting delayed promotions for more than 20 members. BAUPE President Ernesto Williams told our news a meeting was scheduled for today and another sometime next week.
So now we move forward. But one fact remains sure. What was hoped to be even a sliver of people-centered, integral, and progressive leadership at the institution has revealed itself, I repeat, has revealed itself to be a rotted regime of arrogance, intolerance, and callousness. In light of this, we are still here demanding the swift removal of the president, the chief financial officer, and the AVP responsible of human resources.
All right, Williams doubling down on that call for the president's removal, especially after she reportedly issued a letter to staff on Wednesday. One week after the Free National Movement announced it had ratified Senator Michaela Barnett Ellis as their candidate for Killarney, former Prime Minister and current area MP Dr. Hubert Minnis says it won't stop him from running in the next general election. Party officials announced in April that Dr. Minnis would not be renominated. Barnett Ellis was unveiled as the FNM's candidate at a launch event at their party headquarters on Mackey Street last Thursday. That night she told reporters she hoped to get Dr. Minnis' support. Yesterday, she declined to comment on Dr. Minnis telling the Tribune that he had every intention of still running, but without the support of the party he once led. The question is, will he be running as an independent? We asked him about that, if reports are true and if he's planning on starting his own party. Here's his response.
I have said all I want to say at this particular time. I told you that I have intentions of running, and leave it at that for now.
And now to Jamaica, where Andrew Holness is celebrating a historic third term as Prime Minister. Many voters credited him with driving down crime to a 25-year low, though some questioned the use of states of emergency. The economy also helped, with unemployment at just 3.3%. But the opposition People's National Party, PNP, accused government of wasteful spending and even raised questions about Holness's integrity, allegations he brushed off as distractions. Turnout was low at just under 40%, but international observers called the vote calm and orderly. Holness thanked Jamaicans for their trust and pledged a stronger, safer, more prosperous country. Joining us now to discuss is News Director for Broadcasts and Sports, Milton Walker from our news affiliate, TVJ out of Kingston. Milton, good to see you.
Good day.
All right, my first question is, obviously, with turnout just under 40% this time around, what are voters on the ground saying about why so many people stayed home?
I'm not sure. Voters just weren't excited, I think, by both parties. Although leading up to the election day, based on the campaigns and the rallies, motorcades, one got the impression that the bases for both parties were energized. Now, there are two things with regards to turnout. We had roughly 110,000 more voters turning out to vote than we had in 2020. So there was actually an increase in number of voters, but as a percentage of those on the list, it was just marginally 2 percentage points higher. However, there are many who believe that the voters list needs to be cleaned up because we have a lot of dead people who are still on the list, need to be removed. And for example, persons who have migrated, because when you migrate, right now, there's no mechanism to remove someone from the voters list. So there are some people who believe, and depending on who you talk to, believe that the actual voter list should be more about from 1.4 million to perhaps about 1.7 or 8 million. At present, officially, it's 2,077,000.
All right. And despite that low turnout, Holness still won big. How much do you think crime and the economy played a factor in his victory?
I think those were huge factors. The economy has been doing good. The government touted its economic success. Unemployment, as you mentioned, at 3.3%. They've reduced the poverty rate. The debt to GDP ratio has moved from about 120% to 62% at the start of this financial year, and is projected to meet the target of 60% next year. The government also has said it's not raised any taxes in the last 8 years, which is pretty unusual because normally governments do raise taxes, and that's one of the big selling points that the government had. The government also, of course, crime was huge. They campaigned heavily on that. They've invested, I think it was 87 billion Jamaican dollars in the security apparatus. They rebuilt a number of police stations, refurbished many. They also increased the size of the police force from 9,000 to 14,000. And so those are huge factors in bringing the crime rate, in particular homicides, down by 44% so far this year. Last year was down by 19%, and the year before I think it was about 7%. So it's been trending down, and at the current rate we're expected to fall well below 1,000 murders. The Prime Minister's even said it could go below 800, which was huge because we've been at like 1,200, 1,300 for a number of years. And if this continues, like for another few years, we could see rates that we haven't seen on, going back to 1980s.
All right. It's been very interesting to watch, especially as we here in the Bahamas prepare for our own upcoming elections. Thank you so much for that analysis. That's Milton Walker from our news affiliate, TVJ, out of Kingston, Jamaica. Thanks so much, Milton. All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Gideon, and welcome everybody for first look at weather. It is cloudy on the outside right now. Temperatures a little comfortable. 80 degrees is what we have, and we do have some light showers in the vicinity. Your winds out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour, but your feels like temperature is a still humid 85 degrees. Temperatures right now around the Family of Islands: 85 in Freeport, Grand Bahama, 82 in Alistown, Bimini. We pick up 81s, Nicholstown, Andros, over in Marsh Harbour, Abaco. Great Harbour, Keithbury Islands, Governor's Harbour, Luther, all 83s here. Central Bahamas, 82, Kemps Bay. We pick up more 83s in Black Point, the Exuma Keys. Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn, Townsend, Salvador, 84s. Georgetown, Exuma, Port Nelson, Rum Key, and in Deadman's Key, Long Island. And into the Southeast Bahamas, 84, Duncantown, Ragged Island, 82, and Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, also 82. Abrahams Bay, Meguana, 85. 86 in Matthew Town, Nagwana, and neighbors to the southeast, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands. You have a temperature right now of 87. Satellite radar composite. This is a rinse and repeat. We still have that unsettled weather pattern across the area. Frontal boundary stalled out across South Florida, as well as a broad low pressure system and very abundant tropical and unstable air mass across the area. That will continue to be the trend throughout the night and into tomorrow. It looks as though this front is going to take its time getting out of here. So it looks as though we may carry this into the weekend with more showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, Indy Baseball has its moment on opening night of the playoffs, and certainly nothing else happening tonight in sports is going to knock them out of the news cycle. Nothing at all.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
More than 20 years in the making and still growing. Everywhere you turn, our news is there. From Caribta to Caricom and Chogam, the commendation of a queen, the coronation of a king, the controversies, our culture, in times of conscience and collective grief, connecting the stories of a country coming into its own, from then to now and still to come. Our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the record.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24 hours after the body of 12-year-old was discovered on a track road on Faith Avenue, police say they...
You get the most comprehensive half hour of news.
Breach of the party's constitution. Behind me is what remains of the Victoria Court apartment complex.
Our News at 7 brings you that truth in all...
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Martinut. Let's do show. I told you we'd all be locked into the AAPB playoffs. Did you see the game ones? A shutout, a walk-off homer? There's no way you're missing game 2. Deshaun Knowles continued his hot streak at the plate and led his Sioux City Explorers to a 5-0 win over the Sioux Falls Canaries in Game 1 of the West Division Series. Over in the East, Dante Stewart, Chavez Young, and the Lake Country Doghounds lost a heartbreaker on the road to the Chicago Dogs 11-9 on a walk-off homer in extra innings. Young finished 1 for 4 with a stolen base, while Stewart went hitless. Both series continue with Game 2 tomorrow night.
High drama, high stakes, and all this is happening off the tennis court. On September 13th, the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association will host its annual general meeting and election of officers, highlighting that separate functions are making their case to shape the future direction of tennis in the Bahamas. Veteran coach and former Davis Cup player Marvin Roll announced his intention for president of the BLTA, challenging incumbent Perry Newton.
Okay, so AmeriCup is out of the way. Let's regroup and refocus on LA 2028. Now, first up, this fall, the World Cup qualifiers. The path to the 2027 FIBA World Cup is now clear for Team Bahamas after the completion of the Americas pre-qualifiers. Team Bahamas has been drawn into Group B alongside Puerto Rico, Canada, and Jamaica. The Americas qualifiers will tip off in November and will ultimately award 7 spots to the World Cup in Qatar. That'll do it for Our Sports. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Powerball jackpot climbs to $1.7 billion. Plus, a warship docks at Panama Canal as the United States builds up forces in the Caribbean. And we'll tell you the nationwide training for 700 criminal justice sector workers in Jamaica when Our News returns.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the Our News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
My name is Trevi Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed I've actually had intermittent services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. The Powerball jackpot climbed to $1.7 billion Wednesday after no winner emerged after the 41st drawing. The jackpot's estimated cash value of $770.3 million is now the third highest in U.S. lottery history. The numbers drawn: 3, 16, 29, 61, and 69, with Powerball 22 and Power Play multiplier of 2. The next drawing will take place on Saturday, September 6th at 10:59 p.m. Eastern Time. A U.S. warship has docked at the Panama Canal, part of a bigger military buildup in the southern Caribbean by the United States. Washington says the move is aimed at cracking down on Latin American drug cartels, but critics aren't so sure. 7 U.S. warships and a nuclear-powered submarine are being deployed, bringing more than 4,500 sailors and Marines. The Trump administration insists the focus is drug trafficking, though much of the trade actually flows through the Pacific or by air. And in Jamaica, 700 frontline workers in the justice system are being trained to better serve vulnerable groups, from children in crisis to people with disabilities. The nationwide workshops are funded by Canada and led by Jamaica's Justice Ministry with the United Nations and University of West Indies. Organizers say it's about closing gaps in how justice is delivered. All right, back here at home, record-breaking hurricanes, scorching wildfires, drought and floods scarred the region's landscape last year, inflicting major damage across the Caribbean and right here at home. Climate scientists led by researchers from the University of the West Indies confirming the region endured record-breaking heat in 2024, and temperatures are only heating up. In this week's Sustainability First, Jasmine Brown takes a look at why things are heating up and how it's impacting the region.
Bahamas First, putting sustainability first for our people and our environment. What's first for you and the planet comes first for us.
If you think it's getting hotter, that's because it is. Experts say last year was record-breaking, and it's not just causing extreme heat, it's also causing thunderstorms that cause widespread flooding. Experts say it's part of the fallout from global warming. Caribbean climate scientists led by researchers from the University of the West Indies issued a statement revealing that 2024 was the warmest year on record for the region since measurements began in 1950. The findings are detailed in the 2024 State of the Climate report published by the American Meteorological Society. The report, which tracks global climate conditions each year, warns of record-breaking ocean heat, the highest sea levels ever observed, and extreme weather events that caused major damage and loss of life. The Caribbean section was authored by 5 UWI experts in collaboration with the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology and the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. The data points to a year not only marked by heat but also by extreme weather. 2024 ranked as the 8th wettest year since 1950, with average rainfall at 114% of normal levels. There were also destructive storms that slammed several Caribbean nations. Among the most devastating was Hurricane Beryl, the earliest Category 5 Atlantic hurricane on record, which impacted Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Jamaica, leaving over $1.4 billion in damages and multiple fatalities. And there's already been record heat so far this year. Just this summer, the world saw the third warmest July on record. So what can you do to beat the heat? Increase vegetation to provide shade and absorb heat, install cool roofs by painting them white or use reflective tiles, optimize ventilation by using natural cross ventilation by opening windows during cooler hours and closing them when the outside temperatures rise, and upgrading cooling systems by choosing energy-efficient air conditioners and heat pumps. Reporting for our news and reminding you to put sustainability first, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was September 4th. Then in our news at 7:30, we are learning one of the men gunned down in that double homicide on Johnson Alley last night was being electronically monitored. Plus, a man found with a forged voter's card and license is jailed for 1 year. The story when our news returns.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24 hours after the body of 12-year-old was discovered on a track road on Faith Avenue, police say they...
You get the most comprehensive half hour of news.
Breach of the party's constitution. That behind me is what remains of the Victoria Court Apartment Complex.
Our News at 7 brings you that truth in all of the day's top stories, sports, and our view of the world. Join me, Kendino Knowles, weeknights for Our News at 7. Stay with the team you already trust.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to the environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. 9 seasons strong, and we're just getting started. This is On the Record.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1971, Mark Knowles was born in Nassau. Then in 2001, Joan Sawyer became the first Bahamian woman president of the Court of Appeal and served until November 26, 2010. Also in 2001, a fire engulfed the Nassau Straw Market on Bay Street. And finally in 2015, then Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder approved the appointment of a joint provisional liquidator, granting government's application for 3 professionals from Chris Global and Alex Partners Services UK to oversee the affairs of the bankrupt Bahamar. To learn more about the events that shaped the day that was September 4th, head over to ournews.bs. That does it for us in News at 7. Our Talia Hall actually is up next at 7:30, but first it's time now for Thursday. It's the new Friday. Our News entertainment correspondent Danielle Miller is usually somewhere on the island getting the weekend started. She was in New York City last week, but tonight Danielle is back home somewhere on the Cable Beach Strip. Look at Denny. Denny, where are you tonight?
Hey, Ken. I am at Social House. Of course, this is on the Cable Beach Strip. And as much times as I've come here, I've never noticed they have these like little fishies on the wall. And it resembles like water with the lighting. It's amazing the things that you notice when you're not paying attention or hear. Like the conversation between you and Jerome last week Friday talking about renegotiating my contract because it looks like I have too much fun. I am here to tell the public that even though I am out, I am working, y'all. So I just make it look good. So bosses, please don't renegotiate my contract unless y'all adding more zeros. and more vacation time. But this weekend, Ken, I'll be taking it very, very easy because last week was a lot. Of course, you know I was at the Caribbean Music Awards, and travel can be tiring, as well as I attended Steve Aoki that Friday night when I got back. So this weekend is a very easy weekend, and I'm starting it off at Social House. All right, guys and gals. You know the drill. Oh, and of course, for your entertainment news, tune into our 7:30 p.m. broadcast. Deuces, y'all. Back to you in studio.
Yeah.
Listen.
What we can do it, as Raymond would say, what we can do with you?
First of all, Denny, listen, I only wish I could be there with her right now.
Sure.
But hey.
Denny, you need to take us next time, all right? All right, Ken, thanks so much, Denny, and stay tuned to our news on Thursdays to see more of escapades like that one with our Daniel Miller. But for now, here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our news at 7:30, a new U.S. State Department decision is drawing criticism starting November 1st. Haitian nationals must come to Nassau for visa processing. The nation's leader speaks, as well as a former prime minister. Also, police say more than 30 rounds were fired in Wednesday's night double homicide on Johnson Alley. One of the men killed was wearing an electronic monitoring device. Plus, a man will spend time behind bars after pleading guilty to having forged identification documents and later history made in Jamaica. The Labour Party, led by Dr. Andrew Holness, has secured a third straight term in office. We will hear from a journalist at our affiliate TVJ on the historic win when our news returns.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the R News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service meets the ultimate gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come, experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
In the Bahamas, island time is real. The history of Morris Lumber Company, established in 1945, is etched into the fabric of this proud island nation. It's a story that deserves to be celebrated in full color, and that's where we come in. Morris the Paint Place has been bringing color and vitality to homes and businesses across the Bahamas. Here, color is more than just a hue, it's a symbol of life. Together, we can paint a brighter future.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that runny nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them up.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. A new decision from the U.S. State Department igniting an online frenzy. The policy set to take effect November 1st will require Haitian nationals seeking U.S. visa applications to come to Nassau as a processing point. While the Prime Minister releasing a statement on the matter late this afternoon, PM Davis making it clear Haitian nationals will not be allowed entry into the Bahamas for the purpose of applying for U.S. visas. The Prime Minister pointed to a U.S. policy issued in June, which fully restricts Haitian nationals from entering the United States. Davis says since the U.S. has closed its doors, the Bahamas cannot serve as a backdoor. And former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is also weighing in on the matter, telling our Berthany McDermott in this report the issue could worsen our immigration problem and eventually end in an added strain on the public services.
Effective November 1st, 2025, immigrant visas for Haitian nationals will be processed at the U.S. Embassy in Nassau, according to the U.S. State Department's website. The website directs applicants to visit the U.S. Embassy in Nassau page for additional instructions. Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis telling us this could make an already bad immigration problem worse.
Has the government agreed to let in Haitians to interview for U.S. status? 2, if so, how many will be allowed in per year? How long will Haitians be allowed to stay in the Bahamas while they await their status? How will the government monitor these Haitians?
The Bahamas has been battling with an immigration crisis for years that spans successive governments. The decision by the U.S. government seems to conflict with a presidential proclamation handed down on June 4th. The proclamation points to an overstay report which says Haiti had a B1, B2 visa overstay rate of 31.38% and a F, M, and J visa overstay rate of 25.05%. The proclamation fully suspended the entry of nationals from Haiti as immigrants or non-immigrants. Meanwhile, Dr. Minnis is questioning if this process will further enhance corrupt practices within the armed forces.
There's a possibility that hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals can travel via Bahamas Air or other airlines to New Providence, to the U.S. Embassy for their visa interviews, etc. The Bahamas Immigration Department has already been embroiled and involved in corruption scandal, and will this further enhance corruption?
Then there's the concern of an added strain to public services.
If many of these individuals remain within the Bahamian jurisdiction because of poor enforcement and not being able to find where they are located, then that would place additional stress and strain on our public services, health, education, social services. And we want the government to answer those questions that I put forth.
Now, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell declined to comment on this matter. The big question, though, is how will this be policed once this takes effect? Reporting for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, and we will continue to follow that story. Well, coming up tonight on The Record, Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Floyd Moxie speaks with host Jerome Sawyer about the future of the Rangers program. This after recent allegations of abuse involving Rangers in Eleuthera. The Commodore is also addressing concerns about the safety of Bahamian officers currently deployed in Haiti.
The officers that are in Haiti now are not in combat role. They are secure, they are advisors. And so the Bahamian public need not fear. They are safe. I am in touch with them on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis. We take their welfare, their well-being seriously. And I'm satisfied that they are safe.
All right, that's tonight at 8 right here on our TVs on The Record with Jerome Sawyer. Well, one of the men gunned down in that double homicide on Johnson Alley last night was being electronically monitored. That's according to National Security Minister Wayne Munro. Police say they were alerted to the deadly shooting by shot spotter technology shortly after 10 Wednesday night. When they got on the scene, they found two unresponsive men, ages 41 and 32. Munro identified one of the men by the alias Horny Man. While speaking at this week's press briefing at the office of the Prime Minister, Munro revealed that over 30 rounds of ammunition was discharged in the incident.
Having spoken to persons, this is yet another example that we have to be very careful in this country as to who we associate with and to become a part of the solution.
In a recent mid-year report, the police commissioner said crime was trending downward when compared to the same period in 2024. Munro had this advice for residents.
In order to avoid more bad days, I would encourage all Bahamians to be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who you are associating with. And please do assist the police. It may be a matter of life and death for you.
Well, a man has been jailed after he pleaded guilty to having a forged voter's card and driver's license. 31-year-old Eddie Lexion pleaded guilty to possession of forged documents at his arraignment before senior magistrate Anishka Isaacs. The court heard from him as he heard that he presented, the bogus documents to a manager at the National Insurance Board on May 20th. The Bacardi Road resident was charged with 2 counts of possession of a forged document and 1 count of uttering a forged document. He was sentenced to 8 months for having a fake license, 1 year for having a fake voter's card, and 1 year for lying to the NIB worker. The sentences will run concurrently, so he will spend a total of 1 year in prison. He will then be handed over to the Department of Immigration for deportation. Now turning to the region in Jamaica, Andrew Holness is celebrating an historic 3rd term as Jamaica's Prime Minister. Many voters credited him with driving crime down to a 25-year low, though some question the use of states of emergency. The economy also helped with unemployment at just 3.3%. But the opposition People's National Party accused government of wasteful spending and even raised questions about Holness' integrity, allegations he brushed off as distractions. Turnout was low at under 40% for voters, but international observers call the vote calm and orderly. Holness thanked Jamaicans for their trust and pledged a stronger, safer, more prosperous country. Milton Walker is news director for broadcast and sports at Our News affiliate TVJ out of Kingston. He spoke earlier with Our News anchor Candino Knowles.
Obviously, with turnout just under 40% this time around, what are voters on the ground saying about why so many people stayed home?
I'm not sure. Voters just weren't excited, I think, by both parties, although leading up to the election day, based on the campaigns and the rallies, motorcades, one got the impression that the bases for both parties were energized. Now, there are 2 things with regards to turnout. We had roughly 110,000 more voters turning out to vote than we had in 2020. So there was actually an increase in number of voters, but as a percentage of those on the list, it was just marginally 2 percentage points higher. However, there are many who believe that the voters list needs to be cleaned up because we have a lot of dead people who are still on the list, need to be removed. And, for example, persons who have migrated, because when you migrate, right now there's no mechanism to remove someone from the voters list. So there are some people who believe, and depending on who you talk to, believe that the actual voter list should be more about from 1.4 million to perhaps about 1.7 or 8 million. At present, officially, it's 2,077,000.
All right, thanks for that, Milton, and thanks so much for that, Candino. Well, Bahamian Carlisle Bethel is on the ground and assisted the Jamaica Labour Party's campaign in central Kingston. He says there was an implosion of excitement as Dr. Holness arrived at the party's headquarters for a victory rally.
When we got to the JLP headquarters, it was electrifying. It was excitement was through the air. You could tell all the hard work that the party had put in and the supporters, all the work they did, the runners, the polling supervisors, the outdoor agents, the indoor agents, the party infrastructure. They were all just in such a celebratory mood. There was pots banging, lids clapping. There was horns blowing, flags waving. It was just an exuberant time. It was very exciting.
Bethel shares what stood out most as Dr. Holness delivered his much-anticipated victory speech.
One, his message to his party. It was, listen, we've done a great thing, but we've been given 5 more years to sit in the driver's seat to continue to do great things and to do even greater things. What stood out to me was that in his address, he said, we have to ensure that we take prosperity to the doorsteps of people. And to me, that stood out because he's clearly listening, because the biggest attack on his economic progress from the PNP was that prosperity wasn't reaching the people. It was being done, at a higher level, at a macro level, and GDP numbers and percentages and all these things were saying that they were doing well, but the people weren't feeling it. And so that tells me that he's listening.
Well, more showers in the capital on this Friday, Junior. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look. Greg, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick check on conditions outside our studios and around the family of islands. 80 degrees is our current temperature in the mostly cloudy skies. It is on the humid side. Your winds out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour. Your field slight temperature is at 85 degrees. Satellite radar composite, we still have that unsettled weather across our area. That's courtesy of a frontal boundary that still remains stalled across South Florida and the northern Bahamas, as well as a broad low pressure system. That's pumping in a lot of tropical moisture across the area, and that will continue to remain in place throughout the night and into tomorrow. It looks as though we may carry this into the weekend, as that front is going to be very slow to actually move out of here and fall apart. So keep your umbrellas handy. You may need it into the weekend for your shower activity. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us, look at your extended forecast, and a look at the tropics still to come.
Still to come in our news, getting around the island isn't easy for people with disabilities. A new documentary premiering September 9th sheds light on the challenges they face every day. Plus, from award-winning DJs to top Jamaican artists, the Caribbean Music Awards brought the region's best to New York City. Our Daniel Miller has the wrap-up from this year's big event when our news continues. Stay with us.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that running nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try set them all cold and flu and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Strucum, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Strucum, #1 in pest control services.
Step into the new era of transportation when you visit the new BYD electric showroom in the mall at Marathon. Check out the latest models, find out about the latest tech features, and feel the luxurious quality of their designs. Register for a test drive and they will pick you up right from the mall for a smooth yet powerful ride. There's also easy in-house financing and leasing options, so you can drive happily ever after in your electric BYD.
Than 20 years in the making and still growing. Everywhere you turn, our news is there. From Caribta to CARICOM and CHOGM, the commendation of a queen, the coronation of a king, the controversies, our culture, in times of conscience and collective grief, connecting the stories of a country coming into its own, from then to now and still to come. Our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
One pleasantry most of us enjoy is access to transportation. Whether it be public or private, getting around the island is something we all should be able to do. Unfortunately, those with disabilities face excruciating challenges when attempting to mobilize. The circumstances surrounding this issue will be brought to light in a documentary premiering on social media platforms come September 9th. Chairman of the Bahamas of Coalition of Advocates for Disability Awareness and Services, Kendrick Roll, Director for Abilities Unlimited, Karen Forbes, and CEO of Encore Media Group, Vince McDonald, holding a press conference on Wednesday to share more about the film.
Persons with disabilities are faced with this challenge all too often because, one, they are either unemployed or underemployed, and the cost for transportation for them is too high. A person in a wheelchair wanting to make a simple trip to the food store or to the pharmacy or just go and visit a family member, if they don't have a family member with transportation for them, they could pay up to $70 to $100 just for a round trip. And if you don't have that type of disposable income, then it leads to isolation. And of course, isolation could lead to other dark things, depression and what's not.
And McDonald says partnering with the coalition was a no-brainer.
they didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice to decide whether or not they're going to be disabled. Some of them were born genetically with this from birth. And so one of the things as Bahamians and just as a society in general, you're going to walk away realizing that one day this can be your family. One day this could be you. And so it was a no-brainer for us because what you see happen in the disability community, no one asks for it.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Coming up in sports, the Indy Baseball playoffs get going. There's some big decisions to be made in local tennis, and the men's national team learns their path toward the World Cup qualifiers.
2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to the environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. 9 seasons strong, and we're just getting started. This is On the Record.
More than 20 years in the making and still growing. Everywhere you turn, our news is there. From Caribta to Caricom and Chogam, the commendation of a queen, the coronation of a king, the controversies, our culture, in times of conscience and collective grief, connecting the stories of a country coming into its own, from then to now and still to come. Our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's Sean Martinet. Let's do show. I told you we'd all be locked into the AAPB playoffs. Did you see the game ones? A shutout, a walk-off homer? There's no way you're missing game 2. Deshaun Knowles continued his hot streak at the plate and led his Sioux City Explorers to a 5-0 win over the Sioux Falls Canaries in Game 1 of the West Division Series. On the heels of winning the league's Batter of the Month award in August, Knowles went 2 for 3 with an RBI triple in the first inning to set the tone. Over in the East, Dante Stewart, Chavez Young, and the Lake Country Doghounds lost a heartbreaker on the road to the Chicago Dogs 11-9 on a walk-off homer in extra innings. Young finished 1 for 4 with a stolen base, while Stewart went hitless. Both series continue with Game 2 tomorrow night.
High drama, high stakes, and all this is happening off the tennis court. On September 13th, the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association will host its annual general meeting and election of officers, highlighting that separate functions are making their case to shape the future direction of tennis in the Bahamas. Veteran coach and former Davis Cup player Marvin Roll announced his intention for president of the BLTA, challenging incumbent Perry Newton. Roll recently led a group of coaches, former players, and parents as they staged a peaceful protest at the National Tennis Center as they called for the greater transparency, better communication, and a true democratic process within the federation. In response, Newton released a statement highlighting the association's recent achievements, including recent national team performances, the expansion of junior programs across several islands, and its continued good standing with the International Tennis Federation. He added that the BLTA remains committed to fairness, clarity, and constitutional requirements, despite what he called distractions and unfounded claims.
Okay, so AmeriCup is out of the way. Let's regroup and refocus on LA 2028. Now, first up, this fall, the World Cup qualifiers. The path to the 2027 FIBA World Cup is now clear for Team Bahamas after the completion of the Americas pre-qualifiers. Team Bahamas has been drawn into Group B alongside Puerto Rico, Canada, and Jamaica. The Americas qualifiers will tip off in November and will ultimately award 7 spots to the World Cup in Qatar. The journey begins with 2 crucial matchups against Canada starting at home on November 28th before traveling to Canada on December 1st. The Bahamas will then face Jamaica on the road February 26th, followed by a tough test in Puerto Rico on March 1st. The final push comes next summer with 2 games at home, July 3rd against Puerto Rico and July 6th against Jamaica. NBA players are available, just saying. To advance, the Bahamas must finish among the top 3 teams in Group B to move on to the second round of qualifying, where results carry over into new groups. From there, the top 7 teams across the Americas will punch their ticket to the 2027 FIBA World Cup. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Not to criticize the run of the show or anything, but I feel like the NFL being back tonight should have led international news.
I disagree. I feel like they're taking a hard stance against the Cowboys. They cut our boy.
They did cut our boy. You know what? Point taken. I'll let the professionals do their job. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight.
Yeah, man, so this is Kratom, and right now you're tuning on our news with Daniel Miller. Kratom said that. Boom.
The story when our news returns. Stay with us.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, from the teams you already trust.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
My name is Troy Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that
This is our news. Welcome back. Still watching the tropics. We have 2 areas that we're going to continue to monitor. One is there now. That's a tropical wave that's moving across the tropical belt. Another one expected to move off of Africa sometime between the 12th and the 15th of September. That's another area that we'll continue to monitor. The one that is out there in the open Atlantic, that one is actually very strong. We are going to continue to watch that one very closely, as most of the models actually have the system coming towards the Leeward Islands, and it's not going to get there until probably the middle part of next week. So we still have some time to watch it. Very disorganized showers and thunderstorms associated. This is the system we're talking about. And of course, as I mentioned, another strong tropical wave coming off the African coast. Another one approaching the Leeward Islands. Some isolated showers and thunderstorms remain with that. The Gulf of Mexico also quiet, as well as the Western Caribbean. But closer to home, we still have that stalled out frontal boundary across South Florida that's pumping a lot of moisture across the area and keeping us with an unsettled weather condition across the northwest and portions of the central Bahamas. Some of those showers will be locally heavy, so we could see some flooding as well as those thunderstorms will be strong to severe at times. This front is not going to be moving very much, so we are expecting more showers in the forecast tomorrow. Looks as though this will likely last into the weekend, so you may have to keep your umbrellas handy at that time. Future forecast showing the moisture associated with that stalled out frontal boundary across the northwest Bahamas, waning some across the central Bahamas, starting to lift a bit through Friday, but as I mentioned, that frontal boundary will stay across South Florida, and then we have some moisture approaching from the east. That should bring some showers across the southeast Bahamas by the weekend. Boating forecast, northwest and central Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the south to southwest at 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Tide is presently high, will be low at 28 minutes past midnight. Your next high tide at 6:28 in the morning. Southeast Bahamas, a more southeast southerly flow expected at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, as I mentioned, the shower activity will continue, likely to go into the weekend. We could see some let up by early next week, but of course, we will continue to watch the tropics. We have 2 systems out there that we will continue to watch. The first one is one that we will watch very closely. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, thanks so much for that, Greg. Last Thursday, dozens of regional artists gathered in New York for the highly anticipated Caribbean Music Awards, and our Danielle Miller was there to cover it all.
Yo, we used to pray for times like this. We used to pray for times like this. We used to be home sitting down, watching YouTube, watching people that we look up to do the thing, and just being like, yo, I would love to be there.
That's award-winning DJ and artist DJ Puffy telling me what keeps him going. He spoke to me on the sidelines of the Caribbean Music Awards about what influences him. The event is in its 3rd year and is designed to not only distribute awards to exceptional regional talent, but also a celebration of the resilience, contributions, and impact persons from the Caribbean and of Caribbean heritage have made around the world.
What does it feel like year after year stepping into a new evolutions of conscience?
Just blessings. You know what I mean? The fact that we really get up and we sing and we get our job, like we get paid to do that, is a super blessing because so much people can't find it, and we're blessed to use talent and actually have it as our job. So every year, we don't really look for nothing else but the fact that I'm blessed to be here.
The CMA paid special homage to leaders in the industry such as Calypso honoree Austin Super Blue Lions, Elite Icon honoree Busta Rhymes, Shirley Ann Cyril Mayers for Gospel, and the Humanitarian Award, the Sizzler Youth Foundation. The foundation's mission is to increase literacy and identify cultural and academic opportunities. Sizzler told me that the establishment of the foundation was curated with the essence of community at the forefront.
We need to be giving back to the people, not just out of the pocket, and we need to be doing it where other persons can give us like grants, and in order to get grants and all those stuff to reach out to the wider public, to help the people based upon their present needs, you need to have something that's really solid. And we structured the foundation where people can donate through the banking system.
From the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York, to your screens here in the Bahamas, the Caribbean Music Awards airs on BET Networks on September 12th. Check your local listings for more details. Reporting for our news, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, thanks so much for that, Danny. Thank you as well for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.
Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already trust.